Oh, yeah. Also, big shout out to Pungs Nigel for the prime. Thanks, bro. The last prime. All right, no more primes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 1 of your grand finals. This is Beastyqt versus MarineLorD. And spawning in the north, in the color red, playing as the French, representing Izzy Esports, it is MarineLorD.
And to the south, we do have Beastyqt coming in with the Mongols in blue. A civilization matchup that we have seen multiple times today, and look at that, that's a juicy town center spot right away here for Beasty. He chooses to go for the gold mine out there. He could have actually maybe placed that town center a little closer to that wood line. I think that would have worked, but it's still a great starting point for him. And look at that, he's going to start right away with that con being a little bit pesky and annoying on that gold mine. And oftentimes people overlook the annoyance factor of that con hitting those villagers, because those will be damaged villagers that you can potentially pick off at a later stage of the game.
Yeah, that's a really decent point. One of the things to note, though, in this position, that Beasty needs to make sure that he's actually getting sheep behind this, because you don't want to be caught with your pants down in this situation. We can see that right now Beasty going to actually be heading out on the map. He's done a lot of harassing, but we obviously... I remember that one game, I think it was Liadkor versus Striker, a Mongol mirror. And Striker good gamed out at 5 minutes because he had done what Beasty did. He sent over his Khan towards his enemy's base. He looked to try and do damage to a villager, and he lost all of his sheep.
I got PTSD from that game. I got PTSD. I remember it. Like, that was the game where at 7 minutes, you just had a random tap out, and that was a decider game between the two players. So, like, it was match point for whoever won that game. And I was like, how? But yeah, there's a scout as well for Beasty, so he's doing this one consciously. He's going to have enough sheep to work with, and he also has a barracks up already, villager being pulled. We've talked about this one yesterday as well when I was casting with Turin, that Beasty is our Mongol Tower Rush ambassador in the community. So if there is one person that loves his Mongol Tower Rush, it's him. Like, when he was casting...
It is relentless.
When he was casting, every single time he saw Mongols, he was like, okay, it's time for Tower Rush. And people never Tower Rushed.
It's very, very typical, yes. I guess he does play a lot against core, so he would be expecting the Tower Rush to come out a fair bit whenever the Mongols are about, but no core here today. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, I mean, if you play a lot against core, at least you got a good experience of winning.
That's true. Yes, that is very, very true. But it looks like now we've got that age up coming through for MarineLorD. He is going to be looking to get up this school of cavalry. And once again, you know, reiterating that this is a pretty decent opening here against every civilization except for the French, realistically. The French have got such a great response to this, such an easy response, a very simple way for them to move forward from here. It's just going to be, you know, training scouts from that school of cavalry, getting up enough wood for an archery range, 3 or 4 archers, and that will be the archers used to take out the spearmen, the scouts used to take down the outposts, and then transitioning into a professional scouts from there.
Yeah, it's a very well streamlined
nice, easy opening. Yeah, it's very, very streamlined, very straightforward, very easy to do. You know, I was playing with my, I was playing Age of Empires 4. I got to be very careful how I say that. I was playing Age of Empires 4 with my my grandmother, and I was showing her. I was like, look how easy it is to play against the Mongols. This is all you got to do. And she was, yeah, having no trouble with it. But now we see that villager moving out, about with the spearman in tow. Just looking to try and drop down an outpost on the other side here. We can see him just making sure he's getting it pixel perfect. And there he goes, dropping it down now. He's looking good. Age 2 coming through for MarineLorD, though.
Yeah, those towers are well positioned, and he's going to deny that fortress temporarily, or forest rather. So he's going to deny that forest temporarily, but as you pointed out, this is so well streamlined, and MarineLorD has gotten enough wood for himself to be able to pop out 1 or 2 archers. That's all you need to pick off the spears, and from that point on, you will always have food from the sheep to get the scouts out. The question is, how is Beasty going to transition after this, because he's yet to start going up to feudal age, and you see MarineLorD is already getting ready to take those towers down.
And that's a great point. It all comes into this transition and what he looks to do. And look at this. We've actually got a villager pool coming out from MarineLorD. Not something that we typically see. That villager got to be careful. It's going to try and jump inside the town center, manages to keep itself alive. Now going to be turning its attention towards those villagers, trying to run away. Where are the shots coming out from the outpost? There they are as the villager falls down with her axe in hand. It looks like she will be heading back to a pavilion, but it's going to be a different type. It's going to be one with a little bit of a cross on top, and that mining camp going to be going down as well.
Nice value over there for Beasty. He picked off a villager, he burned down the mining camp. Maybe a little overly excessive villager pool here for MarineLorD. I guess he tried to stop that tower because you could see for a brief moment that he had to relocate his lumberjacking operations. So I guess he was like, okay, I might as well pull my villagers, try to stop that tower for the sake of keeping my lumberjacks on that same forest. He had to move away, not a disaster though for him, of course. Obviously, with the French, you do have the discount on that lumber camp, so relocating your lumberjacks is really not a big deal for the French here.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's not too much of a hassle for them, but obviously there's a bit of walking time that goes into it as well. But now Beasty going to be looking to age up behind this. We see a Gur going down on the wood line as well. Could be thinking about going for a bit of a wheelbarrow opening. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. We're at 6 minutes in at the moment, so it's still pretty early in the game. Obviously, his economy looking like it might be the case as well. But the question is going to be, how does he look to play it? Because we typically see Mongol players look to go up to the castle age behind this and try and do some damage once they're up there. But MarineLorD's been pretty handily dealing with that. So if there's anybody who's going to be able to shake it up, it's going to be Beastyqt. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got up his sleeve here.
Yeah, that's a great question out there, because this forward is going to be killed in a matter of seconds. You see, spearmen are going down to the archers. Tower is still intact, but it's probably going to get taken down by the scouts eventually. But looking at Beast's resource bank, he's nowhere close to castle age, so this is not going to be a castle transition. And then the question becomes, what exactly is he going to do? Could be spearmen, horsemen, maybe? That is a decent composition to work against the French, but Beast is going to have to play very aggressive if he's staying in feudal age. And oh no, the Khan gets taken down. That's a big disaster.
Yeah, Beastyqt losing the Khan early in this game. It is that the first time that we've seen a Khan go down today? I think it might be. Yep. It has been a rare occasion to witness a Khan lose its life. But do not worry, do not fret if you're a fan of the Khan. It'll be back. It'll be back. It is one of those things that does happen. But we do see the wheelbarrow coming through for Beastyqt now. So get your wheelbarrow alerts out if you haven't already. I know that some people would be tempted to call a good game when they see a Khan go down like that. But look, do not fret. He'll be back.
I feel like when you lose your Khan like that, you usually don't call GG, you just alt F4.
Yeah, that's normally the response that Mongol players have got. They've got the attention span of a 5-year-old, typically because Mongol players are 5-year-olds. But now we see that Beasty going to get caught out once again, this outpost up towards the north, unfortunately getting found out before it can even get its arrow slits in.
Yeah, you probably want to cancel those arrow slits out there, because you really don't want those to finish just before the tower gets burned down to the ground, and that will be the case over here. You really don't want to finish this at this point, because that tower is going down no matter what. You might take 1 or 2 archers with yourself, but you will just lose that arrow slits upgrade, and it does finish actually, but you see, this tower is going to be lit on fire, and then they will probably just leave it to burn down so they take no more damage.
You know what's getting lit on fire right now? My mouth. I'm eating some pickles, and they are spicy pickles right now. They got some jalapenos in them. Actually, I got the ingredients right here. Habaneros. That's some spicy meatballs right there. But you know what else is spicy? That villager going down, losing its life. Beastyqt's rush going to be completely shut down here.
The last time you started eating spicy food before we started casting, I had to take over for like 5 minutes because you had to run to the restroom. So let's hope that this time around it's not going to be as spicy as it was. Otherwise, I'll be in for some solo casting in the coming games.
Well, I'm not kidding you. I went back. I didn't learn my lesson the first time, and I went back to that same place. And when they serve their chicken and their waffles, they serve it with maple syrup, but they also serve it with pickles. And the pickles are absolutely delicious. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy some pickles. And I bought the pickles. And now I'm eating them. I saw them in the fridge. I was like, yeah, why not? Get me some pickles. But hopefully there'll be a lack of restrooms today. But we'll have to wait and see. It's a long series. At this point in time, Beasty, he's thinking about going to the castle age. We can see he's gathering up plenty of gold behind this, but MarineLorD at the same time going to be doing the same thing. So both players looking to try and get up, but MarineLorD definitely with the advantage at this point.
Yeah, the concern here for Beasty is that he's getting nowhere closer to winning the game here. So, yeah, sure enough, he's going into Castle Age, but MarineLorD is doing the same thing. They will reach Cast at the same time. You will have a slight villager lead coming in for MarineLorD, and he's going to have the guild hall as well. So, as much as the Mongols will have the Step Redoubt operational to boost their gold eco, eventually that guild hall is going to turn into something even more valuable than the Step Redoubt is.
Yeah, that's a really decent point. But have a look right here. We got the pasture god all of a sudden coming out of the woodwork, rather. Beastyqt obviously thinking about going to Castle Age, but also making sure he doesn't neglect his economy. He's going to have a very safe economy under here. Now, I'm curious, Liadkor, do you know how many farms a pasture is equivalent to? Because when you do the math, it works out to be 2 farms if you look at like 75 wood times 2 equals 150, which is the same cost as a pasture. But is it really the same amount of villages equivalent when it comes to farming?
Oh, that's a tough question, because you do have to consider that you do have a pretty decent getter rate from the sheep. I think the key difference here to look at is going to be that with the pasture, you drop 1, you can have all your food villagers, at least most of your food villagers, immediately start working. Whereas for farms, it is going to be 1 villager per farm. So the transition to that food eco is a little bit more streamlined. I think the biggest concern here for Beasty is not the fact that he has 6 pastures, it's the fact that those are all close to the town center rather than the Ovu though. So that's the reason why he has to add so many of those, because those are not getting the buff from the Ovu, so the training time on the sheep takes a lot longer than it would be if it was close to the Ovu.
Yeah, good point. Important to have that nice and close, but we saw that MarineLorD now going to be clicking up towards that 3rd age. Guildhall going down in the back of his base. You could see there was a bit of damage coming out from the horsemen, but obviously being horsemen, they don't do a lot of damage against those scouts. But Step Redoubt also going to be coming up here for Beastyqt as well. So both players castling at the same time, and more horsemen going to be moving towards that gold mine. Might be able to take a villager out here. Indeed, they do get 1 villager, but a couple of archers on that backside going to be trying to tee off a little bit of damage. Not going to find too much luck. 41 villagers for MarineLorD, 37 villagers for Beastyqt. He's done a great job at keeping up with the Kardashians at this point in time. The only question is whether it is going to hold up at this point, because both players head into the Castle Age at this same time. Both players going to be looking to drop down respective monasteries and prayer tents. More villagers going to be going down on that gold mine. It looks like all of them did survive. Yeah, this is where the game begins. I mean, it says that we're 12 minutes into the game, but the game hasn't started yet. This is where it starts.
Yeah, this is where it's starting, and Beasty, as you said, he's going to have a comparable Castle Age time, slightly faster than this for MarineLorD, but MarineLorD does have a bit of a lead over here in eco, and this is where we get back to those professional scouts, which is something that the MarineLorD can use to create effect. So his food eco right now is up in the skies, and it's also going to help facilitate a pretty decent military production going into Castle Age. The question is the unit composition over here. He's got double ranges, double stables, so he could go for that Knight and Arbaletria combination once again, and we have seen that it's really difficult to deal with a civilization that does not have access to the Arbaletria, because you will try to do something similar. You go for your own crossbows and lancers, but both of those will be inferior compared to the French counterparts.
Yeah, that's a great point. One of the things to note as well in this position here is that the Arbaletria is just going to be so superior to the crossbow. And I feel like that even MarineLorD can just go almost into 100% Arbaletria. I know he's not going to do it, but I feel like he could probably do it. It is... I guess the interesting thing for me, though, is that the fact that they've got Pavis, they've got... you know, the crossbow stirrups, they've got so many decent upgrades that just set them apart, and it just dominates the matchup incredibly well.
Yeah, Chivalry is now coming in for MarineLorD. He has already gotten Cantwell settles. A couple of villagers were harassed on the right side by those horsemen, but that's minimal amount of damage done on the eco of MarineLorD. And the concern right now for Beasty is that those knight numbers are increasing quite rapidly for MarineLorD, and as we discussed, the Lancers are also going to be much more powerful for the French compared to the Mongols. The good news for Beasty is that his eco is very compact over here, with that gold mine being right next to the DC. So if you compare it to the games that MarineLorD played versus Lucifron, Lucifron had an exposed gold mine in both cases, I believe, when he was playing against the French using the Mongols, whereas Beasty right now does not have something like that.
I'd love to take a look at Beasty's position right now in the line of sight that he's got. You can see that he's slowly adding in outposts around the edge of his base, and that's going to give him a great indication of where those raids might potentially come from. And we can see now that he is actually losing an outpost here, but he's got a great line of sight up so far. He's going to continue to expand that, and now we see Lancers moving towards his enemy's base as well, just trying to do some damage. And this is the difference between these two when we saw Beastyqt, or rather MarineLorD, taking on Lucifron. Lucifron failed to get any decent raids, but look at this raid coming out right now for Beastyqt. Beastyqt. A lot of villagers going to be going down here. He's killed villagers earlier on the gold mine, and now going to be racking up some more kills. Even more deer going to be going over towards MarineLorD as well. He's trying to keep his head above water, but struggling at the moment. And the Khan goes down for a second time. I know you guys love to call a good game when the Khan goes down, but remember, he'll be back. He'll be back. He will be back.
Now, MarineLorD is adding quite a lot of archers over here, so the reason why that raid was so successful from Beasty is because if you look at MarineLorD's army, he only has 2 arbaletiers, so killing those lancers wasn't really easy for him. In fact, he wasn't even able to kill most of them, so they could just dive in, absorb some arrow fire from the archers, the town center, and pick off a couple of villagers, and now the villager lead, oh, Vololo, trying to come in.
Trying to come in. Not going to happen, though. We see those knights going to be able to just take down that poor little shaman, losing his life, and now those lancers are going to be looking to try and clean up those knights. You can see the difference in jousting position between these guys. One man carries a giant joust. He is the true chat, and the other guy behind him has got like this virgin little spear. Look at the difference between these two. You can really see the difference between them.
Oh, the Lancers are looking for the Scouts. Scouts playing hide and seek over here, and it looks like the Lancers lose the track of those. MarineLorD is dancing around with those Scouts, trying to make sure he can get some more carcasses in for himself, and we're now seeing a massive difference maker, I think, here. MarineLorD is starting to vol up, which will open a whole lot of options for him, because it's going to be much more difficult to raid him than it is to raid Beasty.
That's a great point. One of the things to note, though, Beasty's obviously going to have lots of outposts coming up all over the map. He's going to be looking to litter it with outposts. Sprinkled in placement's going to be coming through. And we start to see that MarineLorD is moving into a heavier Arbaletier-based composition. Still getting out plenty of knights, though, but Beasty doing a great job of just connecting with those raids. We see the villager count at the moment, 50 villagers for Beastyqt, only 49 for MarineLorD. So he's done a great job in evening up that villager count. Have we got a second town center down yet for Beastyqt, or still just sitting on the one town center by the looks of it? So no player, or neither player moving into that second town center play just yet. But you can see the economy behind this, just absolutely massive for Beasty.
Yeah, it looks like Beasty is going to call off his knights upon seeing those crossbows, and you see both players are playing this one cautiously. They don't want to commit to fights. They are not sure that they can win. So the moment Beasty saw some crossbows in the army, he actually called off his lancers, despite the fact that he only had like 3 arbaletiers and 10 archers. So he possibly could have taken that fight, but both players are playing this one safe right now. They don't want to lose a decisive fight. We have seen how important that could be. Just one fight and you're out of the game.
And speaking of fighting, all of a sudden in the middle of the map, players looking to battle it out. We see a couple of Arbaletiers getting thrown in the mix here, as well as crossbows coming in from both sides. Lancers and knights just slowly working their way towards each other. But MarineLorD's got a pretty decent military mass going at the moment. 38 military for him versus the 19 of Beastyqt. But keep in mind, a lot of that mass is going to be those trash units. You know, he's got scouts out. He's also got 12 archers. So you got to consider that, you know, not all of that military population is going to be effective military.
Yeah, that is indeed the case. So some of those archers, they are situationally very good. They are good to take down Beasty's crossbows or potentially even spearmen from Beasty. But if Beasty doesn't have a ton of those archers won't really amount for too much in a battle like that. So yeah, right now the military population is a lot better for MarineLorD, but it's not as one-sided as one would think. It also depends on how he can use those numbers and how effective his archers could be against Beasty's composition. Right now, Beasty's adding crossbows, so that is going to be something that MarineLorD has an answer to in the form of those archers.
And now Beasty once again coming behind enemy lines and looking to do some damage. Going to be able to pick up a couple of Arbaletiers. We see that MarineLorD did move forward and managed to take out an outpost, but looking to wall himself out. He's got to be careful there. A monastery is up for Beasty, or for MarineLorD, but he's got 0 relics in it right now. And now we see more villagers going to be going down. This town set is actually maxed out. 20 out of 20. Any villager that is out, still alive. Oh no, the Khan. Oh, not again for the 15th time this game. That Khan might potentially be going down. We see that relic making its way finally back in. 4 relics to Beastyqt, 1 relic to MarineLorD. I tell you what, it's starting to look a little bit more favored in Beastyqt's position right now.
Yeah, it's looking better and better because he's dropping those towers that you mentioned before. And of course, the raids are intensifying here by Beasty. And even though MarineLorD wasn't losing a ton of villagers here, it's all about that idle time. And Beasty behind this one, of course, he's capitalizing on the 4 relics that you said, the sacred sites, and of course the step raid out as well for him. And Beasty, wait. You did just leave those knights out there. MarineLorD, oh no.
Oh, jeez. You hate to see this kind of stuff. And look at the village difference between these two. Now, keep in mind, Beastyqt still sitting on 1 town center. He is still sitting on 1 town center, and yet we see this villager lead starting to climb. He's up by 12 villagers now, up against a French player. Remember that. So the French villagers do come out much faster. And as a result, Beasty is starting to look very good, and you can start to see the difference between the way that Luciferon played it versus the way that Beasty plays it. And now all of a sudden, MarineLorD's French doesn't look as strong as it once did.
Yeah, it doesn't look really good for him. And now you see the Yam speed also boosting those Lancers and, of course, the crossbows. And that's a factor that MarineLorD is going to have a tough time dealing with. That mobility advantage. The ability for Beast to choose which fight he's willing to take and which not. And you see he's actually using the rate of fire arrow instead of the defense upgrade. So he knows that it's all about dishing out that punishment right now. And look at that. Look at that pasture eco for a brief moment. It looks so crazy. I mean, you usually get used to seeing those pastures around Ovus. And it's all about just pasture spammed all around that town center. But it works, so nothing to complain about.
It works, it works. He's sitting on a pretty decent food a minute. Compare it to MarineLorD. MarineLorD on 225 food a minute right now. Beasty on almost 1,400 food a minute. So he is definitely doing well. And look at these spears. Just the spears sitting out on that hunt, just waiting for scouts to come along and pick that hunt up. And just so smart, so thoughtful about that. You know, doesn't use the idle military hotkey and pull these guys back. He just knows that these guys are here with intent, with a reason. Very smart play.
Yeah, it's very smart, especially if you consider the fact that those 3 Dark Age Spearmen, they wouldn't really amount for too much in a direct battle. So, yeah, missing them from your army is not really a big deal, but it also helps make sure that you limit your opponent's access to the hunts over here. Masses are being built up by both players, but you get the feel that Beasty's numbers are looking a lot better right now. He's got the Yam network to pursue with.
Yeah, he's got the Yam network behind this. He's got the Khan in tow as well. Going to be looking to pop off an arrow very shortly. You can see the Lancer numbers looking very healthy. And at the same time, the crossbows on the back line going to be firing off on those Knights. MarineLorD not looking pretty right now as all of those units are going to get cleaned up. Beasty trying to hold on. You can see the archers on the front line. But now all of a sudden, the attack speed arrow going to get popped off. And MarineLorD going to be tapping out. Good game gets called. And Beastyqt wins the first game of this best of 7.
A clinic, really a clinic here from Beasty. The transition into Castle Age and then just that never-ending pressure that's coming out from him was so impactful. MarineLorD, I don't think that he had a single villager killed from the opponent, aside from the tower rushing villager, I think. But he never really had the chance to pressure Beasty's eco. It was always Beasty being the aggressor, and look at that dip in the villager count. That is where those Knights came in for the raid, and ever since then, Beasty has been playing from an advantageous position. And I just want to highlight one very important thing, because before this game, we were talking about MarineLorD's French, and based on the statistics in the entire event, MarineLorD has 12 wins out of 13 games with the French, so really good performance with that. But hold on, Beasty is 10-0, now 11-0 with Mongols.
Is he seriously 11-0 with Mongols? That is unreal how good he is with that Civ. Yeah, I mean, when you take 2 Titans and you put them together in the ring and say, all right, you guys got to fight, one of them's going to have to move, right? Like, both of them can't come out victorious, even though you'd love to see it. But wow, what a start to this series where we actually see a bit of an upset. We've seen this matchup throughout the day twice already with MarineLorD victorious on the French both times. And now that third time that we do see it is indeed the third time lucky. Beastyqt going to be bringing it out when it matters, and the Mongols are victorious.